If you're studying for hours and forgetting everything, this is why your brain is failing you. And here's how to fix it. I vividly remember studying biology in the library and literally fighting back tears. I've been there. It's not because you're bad at learning, it's because nobody taught you how your brain actually works. Stick with me, because in the next few minutes, I'll show you the science of studying smarter, not harder. And once you know this, you'll never look at studying the same way again. Your brain physically changes shape when you learn. Yes, you're literally rewiring your brain each time you study. Here's the secret. Neurons that fire together, wire together. Think of it like forging a trail in the woods. The first time it's messy and overgrown, but walk it again and again, and soon it's a pathway. That's how short-term memory becomes long-term memory. And this is why cramming doesn't work. It's like going to the gym once, lifting for 5 hours and expecting to wake up shredded. It doesn't happen. You build strength and memory when you are recovering. And the secret weapon? Sleep. Memory consolidation happens while you are sleeping. The key is to spread out your studying. Study, rest. Study, rest. Recovery is just as important as doing the hard work. Learning quickly is about consistency, not intensity. When you study, you should focus on memory retrieval. This is called the testing effect, and research shows that it is the #1 method to boost your learning. It's not about passive repetition, it's about active recall. That will help you move beyond repetition-based memorization to deep understanding. Quick question, what did I just say about neurons? If you can recall it right now, you just used active recall, the #1 method proven to boost learning. Now, the other science you need to understand is cognitive load theory. Your working memory, your thinking brain, can hold about 4 to 5 thoughts at a time. Here's how it works. Imagine juggling 4 tennis balls. You're fine. You add a 5th, you might be able to keep up, now you're straining. It's causing cognitive fatigue. You add another ball, you've moved beyond your ability and you drop them all. That's how your working memory works. Have you ever walked into a room and had no idea why you're there? Yep, that's cognitive overload in action. But if you consistently push yourself and push your brain too far, you will end up always feeling anxious, exhausted, and nothing will stick. So what's the solution? Chunking. You need to take everything that you're studying and break the information down into small, easy to memorize chunks of about 4 to 5 thoughts. This doesn't overwhelm your working memory. Our brains can process information more easily when it's chunked together. For example, if I gave you my phone number and one long string of numbers, you would look at me and be like, bruh, right? What are you doing? When you give a phone number, you give a chunk of 3, and a chunk of 4. It's much easier to memorize that way. The coolest thing about chunking is that when you increase the size of the chunk, you don't slow down your brain. When you consolidate information into long-term memories, you are essentially creating bigger chunks of information. So instead of juggling tennis balls, you are now juggling softballs. Your short-term memory can still only process 4 to 5 chunks of information, but now the chunks are bigger. Even so, you're not straining your working memory, even though you are processing more information. That's awesome. I saw this in action with one of my professors in my PhD program. He was one of the most well-known researchers in our field, and I was in his class toward the end of his career. He would walk into class carrying absolutely nothing. He would sit down, cross his legs, and would just talk. He could lecture and answer questions for an entire 3-hour PhD class without using any slides, notes, or anything to prompt his memory. How was he able to do this? Because decades of teaching and writing research papers have built massive neural networks in his brain. He wasn't juggling tennis balls anymore, he was juggling exercise balls. This is the ultimate goal. You want to build strong neural networks that allow you to access lots of information without the mental strain. But here's the thing. How you organize those chunks also matters. Because if you don't organize these chunks of information in a way that works for your brain, you won't retain them. One trap is to try to organize information based on learning styles. You've been told, oh, you're a visual learner or you're an auditory learner. Nope, research does not back that up. There are definite learning preferences, like I love audiobooks, but my wife absolutely hates them, like with a weird passion. What actually works? Learning is about deep processing. Learning is about the brain. It's about engaging your full brain by using multiple types of memory, visual, verbal, spatial, all together. Draw it, say it, organize it. Learning is about memory. It's about learning how to organize these chunks in a way that allows you to see the big picture. For most of human history, we did not have books. You learned by watching someone while they talked you through the process. That's verbal and visual memory. You naturally have the ability to remember where things are and how to navigate through space because you physically have to move through this world. That's spatial memory. There are parts of your brain dedicated to visual, spatial, and verbal memory. You are literally wired to learn this way. So organize your studying in a way that allows you to take advantage of these three types of memory. This looks like study guides, outlines, charting, mind mapping, and diagramming. When you tap into your innate verbal, visual, and spatial intelligence, you will learn faster. Here is another common studying mistake. When trying to learn quickly, students will dive into the deep end and try to learn everything at once. You hope to download information into your head like you're in the Matrix. I wish it worked that way, but it doesn't. This type of studying quickly overwhelms your brain. When you study, you need to build from simple to complex. You need to build a schema. This is a fancy word for a mental framework. Our brains learn best when we have a framework where we can hang information. Think of a toddler. A small child might have a very simple schema of everything with 4 legs is an animal. Well, what does education look like for toddlers? Books about animals. That's all we talk about with kids. So they quickly build their schema. Oh, this is a dog and it goes bark. This is a horse and it goes neigh. Eventually they learn to put those animals into larger categories. Oh, these are farm animals. These are jungle animals. You can see how their schema moves from simple to complex. This is how the brain works. So don't start with complex. Learn the basics. Get the big picture first so you have a general idea of what's going on before you dive into those small details. This will greatly speed up your learning and help you avoid frustration and cognitive fatigue. What does this look like for college students? Pull key concepts out from the dense paragraphs. Break these key concepts into small, easy to memorize chunks and then organize them into categories that nest into each other. This makes it easier to see the big picture of what you're studying. Your job is to build a framework that will allow you to quickly access knowledge instead of having to waste time and mental energy hunting for information. Think of it how like you organize information on your computer. If you just save files onto your desktop, eventually it will become overwhelming and almost impossible to find what you need quickly. But if you organize this information into folders and nest folders within folders, you'll eventually create a branching chain of information that allows you to store massive amount of knowledge that you can recall quickly. So here's your game plan for fast learning. Space out your studying. Give your brain time to build long-term memory. Break knowledge into small, easy to memorize chunks of about 4 to 5 thoughts. Organize these chunks into a mental framework, a study guide that nests information together into branching chain of knowledge. Use active recall, memory retrieval, to learn until your newly created mental framework is locked in. Now I want to hear from you. What's one tip from this video you're going to try this week? Drop it in the comments. And if you want to take this further, my next video breaks down exactly how to ace an exam. You got this.